All right, welcome back to the Construction Game Podcast. Super excited to be here with you this week talking about how to manage your subcontractors to one, build trust, and two, to keep your team tight. All right, so last weekend was really quiet. The wife, our two kids all spent the whole weekend organizing and rearranging the house. We got a new baby on the way. Leah's pregnant, and Lily's going to be a big sister again, and Ollie's going to be a big brother for the first time. So we're super excited to be introducing a new baby here shortly. Man, it's going to get crazy, but game on. Let's go. All right, so managing your subcontractors, and why is that even important? Well, the reason why I love subcontractors is because they have literally helped me do so many things that I never could have done. And what I mean by that is, like, the first project that we ever landed, which was directly for the government, which was a project down in Sanibel Island, Florida. It was an HVAC replacement project. We had never done an HVAC replacement project before, but because we hired a subcontractor that had done hundreds of these types of projects, we were able to tap into their expertise immediately and get manpower, utilize their payroll, utilize their resources from a standpoint of their material suppliers, and get that project to the finish line. And that was our first successful government project that then led up to, we've now done over $100 million worth of government projects. And now the new goal is to do $100 million in a year. And we're well on our way to doing that. But that was all because of a subcontractor. And honestly, one time we were a subcontractor, and we used to help other contractors get projects to the finish line. So subcontractors are really important. They help you get your projects to the finish line, and they're a great resource from that standpoint. They're also a great resource for cost control. You know, when I had that project down in Sanibel Island doing that HVAC replacement, our subcontractor had a subcontract for a specific price. Now, if they went over that price to fix and do that work, then that was on them, right? If they went under that price, then great, then they can make more money. But for us, it was beneficial because we knew what our cost was. And if they went over it, they were in trouble. And if they went under it, they could make even more money. And that was the scenario that we needed at that time. So it was a great factor for cost control. Another great reason why subcontractors are so important is because they have so many resources in the local markets that we're going after. Now, that project in Sanibel Island was a project that I had never done any work down in Sanibel Island. I knew no one down there. But my subcontractor had been working that area for the last 30 years. So by making that one relationship with that subcontractor, they introduced me to all of their friends who were also doing business in that area for 30 years. So it was a great relationship, and I was able to tap into their network of people, which was invaluable for that project. It helped us get the project to the finish line. So it was a huge benefit. All right? So that's why subcontractors are important, and there's a reason why I put so much emphasis into building and managing that relationship with your subcontractors so they do trust you. Because if they don't trust you, then they're never going to help you grow and scale, right? And you're never going to be able to tap into the benefits that they can actually implement into your side of your business. So for number one, the reason or number one way I build trust with my subcontractors is through paying them. I love paying my subcontractors. I remember when we were a subcontractor and we were working on this large Florida Department of Transportation contract with another contractor, really large contractor. And the large contractor was getting hundreds of millions of dollars worth of contracts from the government. And we were just getting a small sliver, like $1 million worth of work off of that contract. And, you know, the main general contractor was basically doing the entire roadway. And then we would just take a small sliver of the pipe work. And we were installing 30-inch pipe, 36-inch pipe, 54-inch pipe, 72-inch pipe under the roadway. And when we were doing that work, we would put payroll out every week, which was tens of thousands of dollars. We'd have our equipment there on site, which at the time we were renting like a Komatsu 490, which we were paying like, anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 a month. And that didn't include fuel, right? So the fuel bill was another couple $1,000s a month. And we also had to provide materials. Like if we were installing 100 feet of pipe, we had to get that pipe delivered and we had to pay that supplier at the end of the month, right? So for us making all those payments out the door, we were also looking to get our payments coming in the door. And it was crickets. You know, we'd submit our invoice at the end of the month and it was like, hey, when are we getting paid? And it wasn't until we started really like calling and like emailing and like, hey, when can we speak with someone in the finance department to actually get paid on this stuff, that we started to get paid. But it was already 90 days and it was just like a really bad scenario. And I realized then that if they would have just paid us on time, we would have still been there and like been fully focused on getting that work done. And we were focused on getting that work done, but at the same time, we still needed money coming in the door. So we were also looking to get other projects going, because like we knew that if we just relied on this project and they weren't communicating with us in terms of getting us paid, then we were going to be in trouble really quickly. So, and that wasn't all their fault. There was a lot of things that we did wrong there. Like we didn't negotiate those payment terms up front. Ding, 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 ding. Like obviously it's so easy to see now, but like, and I would never get in a contract without having that stuff negotiated up front anymore. But in the time we didn't, and it was a mess. And I realized that if you just pay your subcontractors on time, they will do anything for you, right? And that's what we do. Like we hire subcontractors to do a lot of the work that we do all across the United States. And how do we get their attention? We pay them, and we pay them on time. And we know that it gets their attention because we were once that contractor. And we knew that if that contractor just paid us on time, they would have our full attention. So we need our subcontractors full attention. Like they might have other projects going on, but I don't care about those other projects. I just care about my project. And the only way to get their attention is to make sure you pay them and you pay them on time, right? Also, there's some subcontractors that we even pay faster than we normally should pay them, right? Even before we get paid, we pay them, right? And we didn't always do that, but we've gotten to a point now where we're of enough size where we can do that, right? And we'll do that for subcontractors that like give us really good pricing on things, right? Or they move really quickly for us. We give that preferential price, the preferential payment terms, right? And we need to do that because they're helping us out on things, and we're willing to help them out on things, right? And that's how we build trust with them, right? By paying them really good, and then also paying them fast when we need them, right? So paying them, right? And if you don't have money, don't worry. There's also a way to get around this, because like when we were doing that subcontract work, we dug ourselves a really deep hole. I found myself $500,000 in the hole. What I mean by that is like we owed vendors hundreds of thousands of dollars. We owed our credit cards hundreds of thousands of dollars to the tune total of $500,000. And I didn't have the money. It wasn't like the money was going to come in tomorrow or the next week or next month or next year. Like we had to go out there in the marketplace and get the money. And these contractors were still helping us get these projects to the finish line. So what I realized then is that if you just pick up the phone and call your subcontractors and let them know like, hey, I'm in a really tough spot. I made some bad financial decisions and I don't have your money right now, but I am going to pay you back. And I have $1,000 right now. I know I owe you 10 grand. I know I owe you $100,000. I have $1,000 right now that I can get you. I'm sorry that we're in this situation, and I promise we're going to get out of it, right? And through that, I realized that like all of these people were reasonable. They wanted to get paid back, and they were not happy that I didn't have their money right then and there, but they were happy that I at least paid them $1,000 and was willing to get on some sort of a payment plan with them, and I was communicating with them what was going on. And through that, I realized that, okay, even if you don't have the money right now, you still can build trust with your subcontractors and keep them tight with you if you communicate with them and you communicate what you're going to do. And that's exactly what we did. We let them know we had a payment plan, and then we hit that payment plan. We didn't say and commit this huge, crazy payment plan that we couldn't hit. We created a payment plan that we could hit, and then we actually hit that payment plan. So through communication, we built trust with our subcontractors, right? And that's a huge thing because, again, like I was saying, subcontractors are valuable because you can tap into their resources, both their payroll, their material suppliers. They're great for cost control on a project, especially if you're a younger contractor and you're having a tough time, keeping your costs where they're at so that you can make profit. Subcontractors are great for managing that cost control. And then they're also great because they have a huge network. They oftentimes have been in the market for 10 and 20 and 30 years. And those are the contractors I like working with, at least, that have been there for so long, and then they understand the business, and they have a great network of people that they can tap me into so that I can find other contractors that I might need on the project, like the painters, the electricians, the drywall people. Man, subcontractors are huge, right? So having subcontractors are great. Building trust with them, making sure you pay them on time. Also making sure that you communicate well with them. And then the last and final way that I build trust with my subcontractors and keep them tight, right on my hip pocket, is by I keep feeding my subcontractors, right? Like when I do business with people, not just looking for that transactional, like, hey, let's just do this one thing together and then like I don't ever talk to you again. Like, no, I want to build trust in with that subcontractor. I want to do a ton of business with them, right? And what does that look like? Well, that looks like, hey, we landed this project down in Gulfport, Mississippi, and we worked well with this HVAC contractor. And because they did such a good job on that project, we now give them all of our other projects to bid. And they're not always the lowest bidder, but sometimes it's like, hey, we know what we're buying here, so we'll go with them. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to go with them, but we at least have that opportunity for them to help us on the proposal side of things. And by us continuing to feed them, it just continues to build our relationship, right? So why is that important? Well, when you run into an issue where you might have a chiller not working and it's a Saturday when most people are like, dude, I'm not coming out. Well, because you built that long-term relationship with that subcontractor and you've worked with them year after year after year, and they know that like, hey, this person keeps on feeding me, they're more likely to come out there on that Saturday to help take care of that problem versus like, oh man, forget about it, man. I ain't going out there to take care of that. Like that's like we never do any more. We're never going to do any more business with the people. Forget about it. Like I don't want to deal with that. Like I want a contractor that I have a long-term relationship with that like when I say jump, they're like, how high, right? When I say, hey, we got a problem, they're like, how can we fix it, right? And the type of contractors that you're going to find that are like that are contractors that you have a long-term relationship with, right? And the only way you're going to have a long-term relationship with these subcontractors is by continuing to feed them. Because at the end of the day, they're in the same situation we're in. We got to keep going. We need more business, right? And we want to grow our business. And through continuing to feed them, you actually build trust with them and keep them right in your hip pocket so that when you need them, they're right there to help and support you. Wow, you need support with their resources, right? They can provide payroll. That project that we had down in Sanibel Island in the very beginning that I was telling you about, the HVAC replacement project, I didn't have money for payroll. I didn't have money for the materials. But because I tapped into that subcontractor, they provided them the payroll. They provided the materials for the first 30 days. Then we submitted our invoices. They waited another 15 days. And then once I got paid, then I paid them, right? But like I tapped into all of those resources because I was intentional about utilizing a subcontractor and saying, instead of saying like, hey, let me try to self-perform this thing and like, let me, provide the manpower and trying to sift through who's good and who's not in terms of a installer. Forget about it, man. I tapped right in and utilized all of their resources and then their cost control because like I had a firm fixed price contract with them. So like if they went over that cost, like, hey, that means they lost money, right? But like I was doing everything in my power so that we came in under their cost so that they could make money and would want to work with me again, right? And then I was able to tap into their network of people, their painters, their drywall people, their electricians, all of those people that helped get that project to the finish line. It was a game changer for the organization. So if you know somebody that is looking to build their relationships with subcontractors, go ahead and share this video with them. And if you agree that subcontractors are an awesome tool to help build your business and help scale to the next level, let me know by smashing that subscribe button. Let's roll and have a great day.